going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by the household of Allie, Genevieve, and Derek. Where the fuck's Amanda today? She in
Europe.
Ireland
Spain,
or something?
Right?
She was doing
That was
Spain
Ireland.
and Ireland. She had,
Oh,
I
is it
think
both?
there was a wedding in Spain and a family trip to Ireland.
Yeah, I think she's going to Ireland
It's a
with
combo.
the grandparents or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's not here. Our pop culture correspondent, Natalie Joy,
Aww.
also joins us. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Here with baby.
There we go. And our special guest for today, the one and only, she just goes by her first name, Jealous. And your big sister on TikTok is here. Ann, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
What was the reasoning for the first name only? I only asked just because, did you not like your last name, or is it the anonymity? I don't like my last name, and I decided to make it the title of my show.
Because I went to school to be a teacher.
Okay.
So personally, if I were to go back into a district and want to work with the kids again, I would much rather not have people know my last name just for that reason.
But you're you have 7 million followers on TikTok now.
When I first made that decision,
You're more famous than you realize.
Yeah. I'm very grateful, but I would like to say when people are like, oh, you're an influencer. Oh, you're a content creator. I'm like, I'm Ann. I'm from the Bay Area and I like dogs. So I don't really.
But you also have a new book out. Is it out yet? No,
It is out,
It is
yes.
out. Finding Your Person,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's you. And we'll get into Ann's book in a moment, but because we have so much to talk about. A lot's been going on over the past week. We'll be talking Ultimatum today. What a wild and wacky. Also, why did they just drop everything all at once?
It was in 2 batches.
Honestly, I feel like this season, season 2, would have been really, really interesting if Brian and Lisa stayed. If I can just bring that up.
That's, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, got each other pregnant.
Unfortunately.
For us.
Also, they got each other pregnant, not she.
Brian is also expecting, like Nick. Nick is also expecting.
We are pregnant.
Yeah.
It's for the guys
Also,
out there.
that fight with the slap and the into the parking lot, it was fireworks.
That was upsetting.
Yeah,
I
that was
don't-
gnarly.
I don't blame her though, because I feel like obviously it's like the first night. So she, couldn't really anticipate that Brian would already start really trying to get into the experience, if that makes sense. Right? Because she was very standoffish. She was like, I understand why we're here and I want to try this, because she was the one that gave him the ultimatum.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how the casting process works. I am kind of fascinated by that because I don't feel like it's these people submitting, I guess, like Ask Nick, right? Where they email in and be like, hey, I got this problem and can you help me? And we're like, oh, sure. Can you want to come on? If it's a mediation, we'll see if their partner wants to come. I don't feel like it's that. I feel like a casting finds these couples and then they're like, who wants to issue the ultimatum?
How do they find them?
I think April was just like, yeah, they found us on
on
Instagram.
Instagram.
yeah,
Yeah.
IGDM. I remember that.
Yeah. And they were like,
So what they go through an Instagram profile and they're like, yeah,
Let's
whoa,
just
They
they've
look-
been
they
together
look
7 years
miserable.
and I don't see a ring. Fuck
Maybe.
yeah, this is perfect.
They look
That's
unstable.
crazy.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
also, I'm sure the first season of casting is different than any
Second
subsequent season because it's new, and I think they kind of have to grind it out a little bit. But
Interested couples who wish to be a part of this show can visit the official website to apply for the upcoming season and be a part of it. So I guess either you're found or you
apply.
well, before we get into Ultimatum, what else we got going on in this crazy Iraqi world? Other than how did Timothee Chalamet end up at the? Well, I guess we could have.
No, yeah,
You saw him, didn't you? How certain were you that you saw Timothee Chalamet?
It looked just like him in New York. It looked just like him on a bike.
He be around New York a lot. I
He
saw
was
him
riding
in
a bike.
New York.
Yeah.
When he was dating Lily Rose Depp. I was crossing the street and all of a sudden all of these girls are in front of me like, ah! And I'm like, what is happening? And it's him. We'd been kind of talking about this, that it was kind of easy to turn a blind eye and be like, I doubt it's real. How could this be real?
We talked about this on Pop.
they
I
are
said there's no
kissing.
way
Why
that
did
they're
you-
dating.
why
They're
did you-
making out.
Why did you
Insane.
think it's not real?
I also,
It's
yeah.
bonkers.
Yeah.
Absolutely bonkers.
They look
People
super
are-
happy.
As long as they're happy.
No, honestly, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
She struggled with, I think, her baby daddy.
Travis?
Yep. And her ex. And I think this is probably a very fresh start for her. and I'm sure it feels good.
I
I
think
agree.
Timothy is a good boyfriend.
I think he's a great boyfriend. I think he's so kind
Interesting.
and sweet and a listener.
What do we think of the smoking? Well, he's like holding the cig. Just
He's
kinda,
holding a cig at a Beyonce concert.
Is
Look.
that even allowed?
Wait. He is smoking.
But like, he's just like puffing and puffing. It's like part of his,
Ew, yeah.
it looks like it's part of his outfit.
It's an accessory.
Kind of.
That would honestly piss me off that like Nick and I were in New York and we went to Times Square to see his billboard because he had a billboard for the show. And I, quick backstory, used to live in New York at like 15, became really good friends with street dancers, like street performers. And they were still there. What? It's been like
Your
10
friends?
years.
We said
Yes.
hello.
Oh
Yes.
my
We're,
god!
we're looking at the billboard and I look over and I like recognize the music. It's the exact same routine. They have not changed a thing.
Oh,
And so we go over there. I'm
That
like, we have
works.
to watch. We have to watch
That's
this.
true. It's timeless.
Yeah.
People are coming from all over the world. How do you
Don't
how
fix what ain't broke.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
how
saying?
often do you need to?
That's true. Imagine someone goes home, they talk about it, they talk about their routine. Someone goes back, they've changed it. How disappointing.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. You're like,
Oh.
hey, you gotta go see the show in Times Square. People fly. People were like in Times Square. They're like, we're like from Kuwait and
Wow.
You know,
that's amazing.
just for them.
Istanbul.
Were
Like,
they so
truly,
happy
it's
for
Times
you?
Nick
Square.
learned,
Yeah.
Nick learned this because he got pulled into the middle.
No way.
He
True
was
nightmare.
part of the routine.
Is there a video of this?
I think I have one.
Did you
yeah.
dance?
And then
No.
no, but they were gonna jump over him, but they wanted
Oh.
they were asking for $20 from each the 7 people that they pulled out of the crowd.
So not only do you have to
What?
subject your life,
You also then have
you
to
also have to
have
pay
to
for them
donate.
to potentially
You have
wound
to donate, yeah, to keep yourself safe is what they called it. It's a little scary, but
Oh.
they
What
called
else keep you
they
safe?
called Nick out, and I was like, don't. They got money from everyone.
Wait, is it like one of those Vegas things where if they're in a costume and they kind of pull you over for a picture, you have to pay them? Is it
Oh,
like
no,
that?
no. No,
Or like
Close.
I mean, kind
Close.
of
Similar
They, like,
vibes. Yeah.
yeah, because there's like a big crowd around you, and
Right.
you like feel obligated.
Where they
you know,
hand you
there's,
the
like-
thing first and then tell you they owe you. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's not quite like that.
No.
But it's
I mean, they're grinding. They are putting
Yeah.
on a performance.
Yeah.
There's a massive crowd. There is
in
like
fairness to them, there's all these people watching them and they're kind of like, hey, we're street performers.
Yeah.
Like we don't do this for free. They do it in a very fun and entertaining way, but they grind.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, but it also takes them like an hour and a half to finally make the jump, right?
No, I
Isn't
think
that the
that's
thing?
definitely not an
New
hour and a
Girl.
half.
No.
But it
That's
takes
just
so
a New
long.
Girl where they're trying to make money to get on the train.
Oh, when they're like stalling.
Okay, everybody.
And then that's the one with the crossover with
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
yeah.
So what Boyle was there with his son. And he was like,
yeah.
show us.
Yeah.
Do you remember
And then
that?
the train gets delayed, and they're like, "We have to do
I love that you
something."
brought up New Girl. Thank
We
you.
need to watch New Girl because Allie talks about it all the time.
You've never seen New Girl?
Derek saw Schmidt.
I saw Schmidt this last weekend at the Malibu Chili Cook-Off, along with a bunch of other celebrities. But yeah,
The
Schmidt-
Malibu Chili Cook-Off.
Yeah,
Did you make any chili?
no, but I ate some.
How did you end up at the Malibu Chili Cook-Off?
Well, it's really cool. It's like a local event. It's like a little fair.
Yeah.
They donate all the proceeds to the Boys and Girls Club, which is awesome.
Was Brian Baumgartner there?
No,
You would have thought Kevin from The Office. You know the big chili.
Yes, I know who that is.
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god.
they
He
Did you-
smells it.
they had an actor from Yellowstone there.
Kevin Costner?
No, I wish.
Nice segue. And were there a lot of winners?
There's only one winner.
There's only one winner.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Universal Music Group pulled up, and they won.
Ugh. They won. Not like the little man. That's so disappointing.
Like a famous person won.
I mean, last year, like they have all the restaurants in Malibu, like they all like try to make chili and stuff. So like Duke's, like if you're familiar with that, like they made chili. So it's like kind of like a bunch of restaurants go in, they all like try to make different kinds, local stuff.
a
It's really cool.
restaurant didn't even win? Universal Music Group won? I'm so confused. How do they know how to do that?
They had
Don't
like
they only know how
100
to do
people.
music? Who taught them how to do that?
I don't know.
Chili?
Oh my God,
That's
I
not
want
their
to so
thing.
bad now.
Guys, why has no one else talked that Universal Music Group won this?
Because
I don't even know
it's ran by
who
people who
Universal
cook.
Music Group is.
They make music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they're like a
they can
label.
also
Universally.
cook food on their
We mean like
free
the
time.
like Universal.
I was just
like
about to
the-
say that
Yeah.
too.
But then why wasn't it awarded to the man who happens to work at Universal Group? Why didn't he win?
like the company. Like it.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was people that were represented by the company. So it was like a group of people.
Okay.
Derek seems really nervous. Like he doesn't have the answers for you, Jen.
Yeah.
I'm just confused.
I just
I'm
don't
so
know.
sorry.
I
Like
don't,
the man.
You seem
the
so
man won.
heartbroken.
yeah, I hate
over it.
that. I hate that.
So how many people tasted the chili and how many people were actually involved?
So it was like tables of judges. So it's a multi-day thing, but on one of the days they have the judging. So it's a bunch of judges come through and like.
Are they celebrity judges?
It's the people's choice.
Next year, it's
So
going to
you
be
kinda-
Ann and Nick just
I am
tasting a bunch of
shocked that
chili.
Brian
And you.
Baumgartner isn't
And baby.
part of
And
it.
baby.
And
Maybe
baby.
he was there in the past, but one year I went and I met Dick Van Dyke and he was very nice. So
Wow.
a lot of celebrity, it's like the low-key celebrity spot. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, a lot of celebrities pull up.
Circling back to my story. So the reason I brought up Nick being pulled into that thing is because it tied to Timothee Chalamet smoking the cigarette in with all those people. Because we're standing there and this man, it's a massive crowd
Oh,
of people.
yeah.
We're all close together. And he just lights up a cigarette, starts blow. And I turned to him, I said, "Can you not?" And he was like, "Sorry."
I saw her do
and
that.
put it out and then like dropped it on the ground. I'm sure Timothee Chalamet is surrounded by all of these people like who don't want cigarette smoke in their face. That is foul. It smells so bad.
Derek brought up Yellowstone, and our favorite man to cover has been Kevin Costner and his divorce.
I love him.
She really sounds awful. Is she? Do we think she's as awful as she sounds, or does Kevin just have the charm and the PR team? Because it seems like she's really bad at court.
Yes.
She keeps asking for more,
Well, that's her lawyers.
and she keeps getting less.
That's her lawyers. I think Kevin Costner has like the best like divorce attorney.
He's been very good at divorce. Well,
Well-
I don't know. It depends, because he's lost a lot of money in divorce. How many divorces have Kevin?
This is his third marriage.
So he's been learning from them. He's been
Yes.
improving upon the past
And
divorces.
she was getting $131,000 a month. She asked for $30,000 more because she said her children have luxury in their DNA.
Oh.
And they need to like still continue that and not, she doesn't want to rock their world with declining that. Anyways, she ends up, the judge rules she gets now $60,000 a month. So she
Ooh.
lost so much money.
Then how is she affording this $40,000 a month rental home in Montecito? How is she
Because-
affording that?
Because, just a guess. Well, one, she's getting 60, so now she's got 20K left over.
That's not enough. They have
Yeah.
luxury in their DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they did sign some sort of prenup, which she is getting some kind of money outside of this child support. The child support, and then like whatever she got in the divorce per their like prenup or something, because there is a prenup, and they, and she's not like the prenup. I'm assuming isn't like you get nothing, she gets something, but this is in addition to whatever she's gotten, so she's gonna
I see.
be fine.
She's not too thrilled about the house, though. She complained that while her rental does come with a pool house and guest accommodations,
What?
visitors would have to come into the main house to use the shower.
You're kidding.
Aw.
You're kidding.
Man, the media is,
Is
not
she
disgusting.
this? Is she this bad and out of touch? Can you imagine her every morning waking up to these articles? I just can't imagine she's like
The
this.
4-bedroom property sits on an acre of land and features a pool, jacuzzi, and manicured gardens that leads to a wooded hiking trail. Sounds pretty nice.
But oh no, her sons would have to share a bathroom while her daughter Grace would share hers with the house. I don't know what that means. Is
like
the
it's
house
not an
going to the
ensuite?
bathroom?
No, it means
Or
like
is
it's
it
not
like
an
a-
ensuite.
Oh,
Is it like a restroom where it's kind of like if there's guests, they have to
Yeah,
use her restroom
exactly.
basically.
They could be in the hallway.
Yeah.
wow. That's awful.
I know nothing about this, so hearing this now, I'm just distraught.
It's been a really bad summer for her.
Yeah.
But apparently at the courthouse, he was asked if he still loves her, and he said yes. Do you think that that's like
That's
we were
just-
talking about Gwyneth Paltrow as she was leaving her, skiing case after she won? She whispered to the man and said, "I wish you well." Do you think it's like that kind of thing? It's like, of course I still have love for her. Like
Well,
I'm so high up on my high horse.
He was married to her for
18 years.
18 years, and they
Mhm.
do have 3 children together. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same as the guy in court for Gwyneth.
That's true.
That being said, I think Kevin's a professional.
I think it's
And
just
I
like
think
it's a great last word.
It behooves him to remain positive to the public,
Yes.
regardless of how he really feels about her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she's as messy as she's coming across, or do you think Kevin is just clever enough?
I mean, I think she's messy. I think the stuff that his team isn't making up these words about her saying they have luxury in their DNA.
That's
like,
true.
That's her,
lawyer.
teams.
That's her lawyer. And Kevin has nothing to do with her vacationing with his friend in Hawaii
True.
Tea.
on the beach,
Displacing their
or
staff.
her hiring a moving company to move across the yard. Did you hear about that one?
No, please don't.
She
Please
moved to
explain.
the pool house.
No, where their like staff lived.
Oh, she displaced the
yeah,
staff.
she displaced the
Uh-huh.
staff.
So she could still live there, but then hire like a moving company.
Yes.
What,
That's
I
what
mean,
people found
she's
out.
not going to
There
lift
was a
it.
U-Haul outside of the house,
How
and they were like, "Where are you
far?
going?"
How far was it?
Not
I'm
very-
sure Kevin's not helping either, you know?
Yeah,
she
I mean,
probably
I
was
know,
like,
but-
fuck it, I need some
I
help.
mean, the moving company makes sense. It's just displacing the staff. Yeah, you can't be here anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like the only like negative, semi-negative article about him was like he sports his new car, and like it was a picture of like an older car covered in mud.
But he's gotten all this great press.
As he should.
I still think that was like painted kind of well because it was like Kevin Costner is not even worried. You know, he is in his car. This woman's complaining about all the money he needs, whereas Kevin Costner, who's like much more famous and probably used to wealth than she is in a dirty car and he looks happy. You know, like that's how the article kind of came across to me.
You know, he has what, 9 kids or something, 8 kids,
How
7
many does he
kids.
have?
He's
How
had
old
one
is
from
Kev?
each marriage.
How old is he?
He's 68.
7 children.
68.
68, 7 children.
Sophie marries. How old is she?
She's 40 something, I want to say.
But I don't know, like, if I were single and Kevin Costner, like, asked me on a date, I'd go. Like, he's
Oh,
handsome.
Do it for the plot.
Yeah.
He's handsome.
yeah.
For 68, he is handsome.
Super handsome.
Daddy?
I would pass on that.
You would pass.
I would
Oh.
pass.
What is your celebrity
Get out.
crush?
Just kidding.
My celebrity crush, this is going to sound really bad, but I'm going to stick by it. I'm a believer. So I love Justin Bieber.
Nothing wrong with. You could do worse by wanting to have
Did
sex
you
with-
hear the rumor that they're going to announce their
Conspiracy
divorce
theory.
soon?
Yes.
Because of the green card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Yeah.
Do you
what?
believe it, Anne?
Yeah, do you believe
I-
it?
They're gonna announce what?
Okay, so he got a DUI years and years ago, and he's not an American. He was born in Canada.
Yeah, I'm aware.
And so there's like some law that you can't apply for your visa if
Mhm.
you've gotten in a DUI. But like the workaround is that you can be married to an American citizen for 5 years and then you can apply for that. And their 5-year mark is coming up. And so
Mhm.
people think they're going to get divorced right after that because people think like he got the DUI, then he got back together with Selena. People think that was because he wanted to get married to her.
Mhm.
She probably realized that's what he was doing. And then he got engaged to Hailey Bieber like 2 months
Really
after they
fast.
started
Yeah, it
dating.
was very fast.
Yeah.
I believe it, to be honest.
You do?
It's just crazy to me because when
It
you
is crazy.
think
We've
about
lost
it,
our credibility because you want to date him.
well, listen, I wouldn't date him, but he is a crush.
You wouldn't date him.
I wouldn't date him. There's a
Justin
difference.
Bieber
You can
breaks
definitely
up with Hailey Bieber.
And
I
he slides in
genuinely
your
feel-
DMs.
Calls up. And
let's be
"Ann,
friends.
what's
I'm
up?"
cool, but I don't think we'd vibe.
Really? You wouldn't
Really?
even try it out?
No. Listen, that's too much pressure. I
It's
refuse to put
nuts.
myself in that position. Justin Bieber is highly looked at the same way Kevin is, right? Don't put me in that position. I'm trying to stay in my bubble.
Mm.
Like, that's just me personally.
Because if you want to be a teacher again,
I thought about it. I really, really thought about
the
it.
students, Justin Bieber.
Your
you're-
kids would think you're so cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's
It'd
true.
be like
Yeah,
Miss
okay.
Ann dated Justin Bieber.
So wait, we believe this silly conspiracy theory.
Okay, this is my opinion, and I think this is why I stand by the conspiracy theory. Hailey and Justin, although like they look cute together, take a picture of them, they look like a beautiful couple, yes. But I just don't think well, obviously we don't see everything, but I just don't think that there's this emotional connection that we all see in the public eye. And maybe that's on them. Maybe they really just want to keep it private, which I completely get.
I think it was a bit disrespectful for him to show up to her road event
Mhm.
in sweats and like looking like a complete
Mess.
clown.
Yep.
And then they go to the US Open a few days later and he's in a great outfit. He looks so good. He
Wait,
looks
we had
so
those
handsome.
silly glasses on.
Yeah. He could have worn that to her event.
See, that's what I'm saying.
that
like,
was a
things
great
like
outfit?
that.
He was in like jeans and like he was dressed up. He put on
No, there you go. He was
Just
like, he
that
looked
was
like,
that was
Okay,
for her event.
This is
I
Rose.
feel like he wasn't even wearing a shirt under that. He
He's
was
got
just,
yellow Crocs, a pink hat, like
Okay, and then what was the other
at the
photo?
US Open.
he does
US
look
Open.
very silly at the U.S. Open, though.
I think that's like an outfit though. Like that's Justin Bieber. That's
it's
him
definitely
trying.
not sweatpants.
I'll be
wearing
honest,
a
I
leather
feel he
jacket.
looks better in the sweatpants.
What? He's wearing jeans, a leather jacket.
Well, you're right. At least he's trying,
He's
and then and they are
trying.
matching.
Sneakers. He
Matching
tied
those.
his
They're matching.
shoes.
That's true.
He tied his shoes. He slipped on Crocs for her launch of her event, and for the U.S. Open, he put on an outfit.
Okay.
for her event, they're not even matching whatsoever,
No.
but then he tried. You can
Which
tell
is-
he tried in
they've
the
had
other
this
one because
before.
they're
Look
wearing
at
leather
all
jackets.
these different times that they've been in different outfits.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm saying maybe
I mean,
They-
I don't think
they
that
don't
means
hate
they're
each
not going to
other?
last. I just think if I were Haley, I would feel like a little, before we left the house, I probably would have been like, are you for real? Like, that's what you're going to wear?
Let's collaborate. Let's match a little bit.
But it's also a sign of respect for it being her business and her launch as well. It's not
Right.
even just any event. It's, do you not realize how important this is to me? Like
Right.
if
Yeah,
you
that-
started a brand
That
and Nick
matters.
comes out of the bedroom and he's dressed in Crocs,
I'd
you'd
be
be like,
like, what
babe,
the
you've
fuck?
seen
Go
how hard
change."
I worked on this. Why are you not showing that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See-
there's definitely a level of
It's
it's
different.
not important to me energy.
And I think that they are a very strong couple.
They've been through a lot.
I'm a believer. I'm
I
a
believe
believer
that.
in them. Yeah. Listen, she obviously has a privileged life, but I do feel like it's been tough to be Hailey Bieber
Mm-hmm.
and
It's not worth it.
to be the spouse of Justin Bieber. I don't think it was ever going to be easy for anyone. And you have like fans of like, Selena Gomez who are just bullies to Hailey. And it's not because of Selena. It's just because the fans still can't like get over that Selena and Justin aren't together. This is not to say that Hailey hasn't made, I don't know what mistakes she's made. I'm sure she's made plenty of mistakes, but like she's constantly under a microscope. I think it seems like from afar that the criticism that she has received has unified the two. You know, it's like brought them together. Like he's clearly, I don't know. I get the impression that it's been good for them because they've been a team and they've had each other's back through these moments. And if Justin's going to marry someone just for a green card or the
What
right,
if-
I just feel like there's other, I don't know. I
What
just
if-
don't feel like she's, I don't know. Just, I don't buy it. I'm with Natalie. I believe in their love.
What if they started off that way though? What if they were like, maybe this is for that, but then they grew together?
Like an arranged marriage that
Yeah.
turned out.
that turned out, yeah.
Or like a PR couple
Right.
for a movie.
Because they've definitely gone through a lot, like you said. And I agree. And so what if throughout that they really did just grow? I mean, I'm thinking about the green card. I'm like, is that real or is that not real?
So what would have
Whether
happened
they
if had he
divorced or
not
not,
gotten
I'm
the
not
green
sure.
card? He would have had to just live in Canada, or
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
You
which,
would just have to
like,
go back.
You know, the pandemic like opened up the whole like you can be anywhere. But I feel like when he was coming up, he definitely needed to be in the US, in LA, you
Mhm.
know?
Speaking of divorce,
Ugh.
Joe and Miss Sophie.
yeah.
This I don't believe. I don't believe with my entire being.
Why don't you believe it?
Because one, I love them.
Oh,
Two,
all right.
Oh,
Case closed.
yeah.
two, he was wearing his ring at the concert
Yeah.
the day after these rumors circulated, and she was there.
But
No,
unlike
she wasn't. No, she wasn't. I was listening to the radio on the way to work today, and it was at this concert. Everyone's saying Sophie was there. One of the people who works on the Ryan Seacrest show, her friend was there, and she was saying no, it was actually like a staffer. It was someone who was working at the concert. She was bringing food and stuff to like Priyanka and like like Papa Jonas. So like she was around that same area. She looked really similar to her, but it wasn't her.
I didn't think it was her either, but I also just was like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know Sophie Turner.
I met her once at a Dodger game.
How was that?
Delightful. She was with Joe. She turned around and waved. She's a Basher fan, so I was like, and one of those moments where I thought it was like maybe someone behind me. Because at the Dodger game, there's a lot of famous people.
Mhm.
So I thought
Wait,
there was
I
no way
haven't.
Sophie Turner was turning around and waving
Waving
at
at
me.
you?
Very nice. So that we're supposed
then
to
what
know that
puts it
this
on
is
now?
supposed
But
to
then all
happen.
Okay. Then all the rumors come out, and he's like, oh, let me put it back on.
And on his Instagram story,
I saw that. Why,
like
though?
what? Yeah, why would
What
he
did he put
do
on
that?
his Instagram story?
Him
His
wearing his
wearing a
ring.
Just,
like,
it was
why
just his
weren't you?
hand?
No,
No,
it was
no,
just a
but,
photo
like-
of him, but you could tell that he had his ring on.
I mean, listen, I don't know. Fuck. I mean, divorce is hard and scary, and it's like a process. It's not like breaking up with your high school sweetheart, which also sucks. They have kids. Kids is a plural. Two kids together. And with the reports that are out there, like this doesn't actually get leaked. The headlines are that Joe is taking care of his kids on his own while Sophie is nowhere to be found. That's how it reads, right?
It did say that he was like the sole provider of the kids recently.
And so
And they were like on tour with him.
that's not an accident that these reports are getting out. And I don't know who they're coming from, but they're coming from someone close to the bubble, probably.
Right, because they said that he hired a lawyer.
That's hard to lie about. You can probably fact check that pretty
Yeah.
easily, you know? And just because you hire a divorce lawyer doesn't necessarily mean you get divorced. But when kids are involved and then you have rumors being leaked about, you know, parenting, you know, who's doing what when,
Mm.
To me, that sounds like someone trying to get ahead of things when it comes to what is inevitably, hopefully not, but a messy custody battle when it comes to kids.
It's reminiscent of when people were putting together the data points of the Kim and Kanye divorce and how there were specific headlines about Kim pushed out right before there was a filing for divorce. It's like everything is done for a reason. And especially when you're in the public eye, to be able to go to court and say, no, look at all these data points. This was public knowledge. This happened before the divorce. This, commentary that he was the sole provider was before we even filed.
Yeah.
I just had a thought.
What?
Oh, God. I don't like the look in your eye.
I just realized that 2 of Taylor's exes are now single. I'm not
Well, first of all, we don't know if Joe's
saying-
single.
Well, we don't know.
I always thought
not
the one was
know.
written about him.
Joe Jonas?
I don't know. It's just the thought that I had.
You think Taylor Swift, there's zero chance that Taylor Swift,
And Joe Jonas get back together?
yes, zero chance.
0.
I
Could you imagine
they
if they
even
did?
dated.
0.01. And they're still friends.
Taylor's not messy, and she is on the highest of highs. She is crushing the world.
I'm not saying right now. In like a few years when he's healed.
No,
She's
she
not even
doesn't want
healed.
any part of speculation around homewrecker or like moving in on someone else's family. She doesn't need that drama. She is above that fray. Why would she want to mess with going back to an ex? I don't know how you feel about that end, but I'm not a big believer of that. I don't know how you feel about it in your book. That's messy. And 2, it's messy. Taylor doesn't need that mess.
Okay, so Reputation, like the album that she still has to re-record and release, her reputation was like shattered. And then she released that album. So people are like, Taylor has to do something incredibly messy before she releases that album. So it's like similar. And this would be that.
This
Sure,
is
it
a
would,
reach.
but why does she
This is a
have
huge
to?
reach at this point. The more you explain it, the more I'm like,
I'm
I
just
just
saying
don't see
Taylor's
it.
sitting in Rhode Island right now going, oh.
Taylor's on.
She's going, should I text him?
Yeah. Should I be like, sorry?
Should I slide up on
Hope
it?
the baby
story?
present I sent to you guys wasn't the start of this.
Oh.
It wasn't. I doubt it was. That was years ago.
I feel like sometimes one of the hardest parts about creating content is just knowing what to say, or you feel like you're trying to drive a certain message home and you're not sure how to word it, or maybe you've posted about it the day before and you don't just want to say the same thing twice. And that is where Grammarly Go comes in, because it can really just help you generate all sorts of new ideas. It can help you take an idea and figure out how to just really word it correctly, make it succinct, but make it powerful. And I feel like any time that you've experienced writer's block, I think about this, how much I would have used this in college, for example. Grammarly Go is just like an assistant in your back pocket.
Grammarly has been powered by AI technology you can trust and rely on to help you across all the places where you write the most. And now Grammarly helps you do even more. With one click, you can easily brainstorm, rewrite, and reply quickly with suggestions based on your context and goals. You can improve productivity for you and your teams.
When you're feeling stuck with writing at work, Grammarly can help you get started with ideas, outlines, or even tips. Or if you need help polishing your writing, Grammarly can help paraphrase and rewrite to be more concise. And maybe you just need to get through your emails quicker. Grammarly can actually help you summarize your emails and provide suggestions on how to reply in seconds. So that daunting inbox you've been staring at, no longer.
Not so much with Grammarly Go. Also, they have tone recognition. Let Grammarly Go help you with all that and more. You'll be amazed what you can do with Grammarly. Go to Grammarly.com/go to download for free today. That's GRAMMARLY.com/go. That's Grammarly.com/go to download the Grammarly app for free today and start being more efficient and rocking your world with Grammarly. I know some of you have been chatting with your friends, your partners, whoever it is, talking about needing to upgrade said room in the house. Maybe it's some outdoor furniture you have been procrastinating to get. Well, let me tell you, Article is here to save your day. If you have been thinking about upgrading any room in your house, whether it's your outdoor patio, whether it's a bedroom, a living room, a dining set, it doesn't really matter. Maybe it's even a bedroom. Article is there to help you guys out. They have so many great furniture selections to choose from. Their mid-century modern, coastal, industrial, Scandi, and boho design makes furniture shopping simple. It's really just great furniture. I have had a handful of Article pieces. We got these lounge chairs, and then we got these like fancy beanbags. Both are exquisite outdoor pieces. Nally and I used it last night. We were watching TV on the projector, and we snuggled up next to our beanbag chairs by Article. We get so many compliments on our Article furniture, and you could check it out too. Our neighbors also are Article customers. I know that because a big Article truck pulled up and they just unloaded. One of the many great things about Article is the price, because they cut out the middleman. None of those fancy showrooms where you go, you can't even buy anything anyway. Just go online, pick out the amazing Article furniture that you think will look exquisite in your place, and delivery to your doorstep will be much sooner than you expect. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/VIALL, and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/VIALL for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. That's right, article.com/VIALL. All right. Roxanne and Antonio were definitely the most fascinating couple. When we were watching it, early on I predicted that Ryan and James would stay together and Raya and Trey would stay together.
Really?
And I thought Roxanne and Antonio and Kat and Alex would break up. I wasn't like Lisa and Brian were already prego at that point.
Yeah.
So they were part of that prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out they all stayed together. At the reunion, I felt like, well, they should not. They should have broken up.
Roxanne and Antonio.
Roxanne and Antonio for sure. Ken and Alex, I don't know. What I thought was the most interesting about this season, I think really was a focus on, I think, compatibility. I thought it was really kind of interesting to see like Roxanne and Antonio talk. Well, here's my read on Roxanne and Antonio, which I thought was just kind of fascinating in general. It kind of seemed like Antonio and Roxanne, they're like a trial run of 2023 in modern dating, if you will. Roxanne here is this businesswoman who clearly is fixated on her career and her job. Great. Love that. We love a grinder. I think that's amazing. And she's dating someone who is like the opposite. The reality is like not everyone in our society has this kind of penchant to like want to have a career.
Mm-hmm.
They're not career focused. They're not waking up and being like, how do I grind it out today? They're not necessarily money motivated. They don't want to climb the corporate ladder. They just don't care. And historically speaking, men were only in the workforce, right? We've come a long way. It's crazy how much we've come when you think of like just the lack of women's rights when it came to like the workplace and some things they couldn't do. And now it's 2023 and now it's not the case. And we have a ton of women in the workforce. We are having more and more executives. That's great. But you have this couple. Because like Antonio seems like the type of guy who's like, I don't know, I'll raise the kids, you know? Like he seems like a compassionate and kind of empathetic guy who, you know, maybe he'll be the one who's like making the calendar, the household calendar. But she doesn't want that. She's the grinder who wants to work, but she talks like she also wants to find her counterpart. Like it all seemed like her and Alex were going to be like this perfect match. Turns out they hate each other because we often hate people who remind us most of ourselves. But it was just kind of interesting because it's like, I felt like Roxanne and Antonio were like this almost like trial run or case study of, in 2023, gender roles. Are there none anymore? Is it regardless of the gender? You know, is it like, maybe we have two people who are professionally driven, maybe it's one person, but when it's the woman in a relationship and she wants to work and she's career focused, is someone like Roxanne, does she want someone like Antonio? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. Because what was interesting to me is that, like, I feel like, you know, since the gender roles have kind of fallen to the wayside, and like you see all these like female executives, but what happens most likely is like the men becomes insecure by how successful and ambitious the woman is, and then like that's the chasm in the relationship. But here it is not like that at all. Like Antonio seems to, you know, really support Roxanne and think it's like awesome how driven she is. And in her mind, like, you know, maybe you don't want kids, maybe you don't want marriage. That's fine. That's besides the point. Isn't it like awesome that you have someone who's willing to like fill that parental, like stay at home parent role? If you do want that, like, why does that matter to you?
But I also think there's a difference because I was thinking it was just about career. It was just about money until Roxanne's dad was talking to Alex saying that when he goes over to the house, Antonio doesn't even get off the couch from playing video games to greet him. And that's when it clicked for me that it's more ambition or respect in multiple spheres. It's not just what is he doing and what is he earning. If I had someone who's playing video games and not getting their ass off the couch to greet my father when he comes to the house, I'd have a problem with that too.
Sure, but there's having a problem with not greeting your father, and then there's how Roxanne treats Antonio. Listen, they portray Antonio to be kind of a loser. Like, I don't know if he is, but his edit is kind of a deadbeat. And I don't know if he is, right? But the point is that Roxanne is dating him. She continues to date him. And even after going through this crazy show, she is at this reunion kind of looking like, again, she hates him, doesn't respect him, but like also doesn't want to not be with him. And it's just kind of this fascinating thing. I know why they dated. Like, I know why they got together. And I know why they're together, in a sense.
Why?
Antonio, despite his video game playing and all the things that she hates about him, it's the same reason why Kat and Alex is because when they started dating, he was always there. She didn't need him to make money. She didn't need him to like buy her things, right? And he was kind of there to like have her download his day. I don't know, or just like do it. She ran the relationship. And at first it very much fit into her needs. And maybe that fits into her needs overall. Maybe Antonio is the type of guy that generally she needs to be in a relationship because she is so dominant and she is so kind of type A. But it's almost like that part of her, whatever part of her that kind of still wants to be taken care of or wants someone who is like the earner, like she wants that option and that thing that we do when we're dating and we kind of ask ourselves, is this the best I can do? I feel like that's Roxanne, where she's always going to ask herself, is this the best I can do? And you're never going to look at Antonio and say, yes. He's never going to reach his full potential because he just never wants to. So like that kind of gives her the ick, but I don't think she's self-aware enough to realize that's kind of the person that she wants.
But he is a
needs.
CEO owner. He owns a car place
of a car
now.
wash. Yeah. And she hates that.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
So mean.
He was like,
when I was
that?
like 10 years ago, I wanted that.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I think it just creates a bigger picture in society. And I wonder for the ladies out there who very much are career driven, we hear a lot what you said. We hear a lot about how when they date and they meet men who make less money or are less successful, we always hear how the men have the issue with that. They get insecure, et cetera, et cetera. And clearly, like, Antonio has insecurities. And I'm wondering, after watching Roxanne and Antonio, I wonder how many couples who you have like these dominant professional women and these less dominant men watch these two and see themselves in this relationship.
Because I feel like the stereotype with these kind of relationships is the man resents the woman for her success and that makes her feel insecure. So like both of them, you know, no one's like happy in that situation. But here we have she resents him and that makes him feel insecure. Like I don't think he's insecure by how successful she is and that I don't think he cares that he's not as successful as her. I think it's just his
She
insecurity.
makes him feel insecure because how she talks to him.
Yes.
And just generally speaking, the grinders, the people who are money motivated, the people who just people, regardless of your gender, big personalities, they have a tendency of being critical. They can put people down because, well, they put themselves down. They're hard on themselves. Roxanne, I'm sure if you asked Roxanne, she would say something like, no one's harder on me than me. And you know what? I bet that's true. I bet that's super true. But that doesn't stop her from also being hard on other people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. If she's like this hard on herself, she's like this hard on other people.
Yeah.
Like she kept
pretty up
going
there.
after Kat.
Yeah.
It's like Kat did nothing wrong here. Like, why are we doing this to Kat?
And I'm just wondering how
I
many
loved Kat.
people out there who have said, oh, I have this problem with dating certain type of men. I'm very career focused. I'm very motivated. And they're just insecure and they can't handle my success. I wonder under a microscope how many are closer to Roxanne and they're not realizing it.
I mean, the whole like, I don't think she respects you fight that evolved. And then, you know, Alex's parents texting Kat. It was so bizarre. It was like, he quite literally said, you know, like, I'm just, you know, I just don't think, he's like, why do I feel like you're trying to spare me? Alex is like, because I am. And he's like, well, don't. He's like, okay, well, I just don't think she respects you. Like, in my opinion, I just don't. He's like, well, what has she said? So he like tries to remember. And then she gets so mad about that she's like, you're putting words in my mouth. When did I ever say the word respect? And like she's literally like confirming everything that Alex was saying. I think she like really panicked because I think she was being painted as like a bad guy. And I don't think Roxanne could like handle that type of criticism.
Yeah. And that's the whole time Alex is like, no, it's like just my opinion. I don't think.
But she doesn't.
She comes across as she doesn't respect Antonio. Yeah, that's the thing. She belittles, she talks bad about him. I mean, and that's the thing. It's that Kat kept saying, is it like, I don't know, why would my mom, she doesn't even know you.
Yeah.
Why would my mom want to make this up? She doesn't know you. She has nothing against you. All she is going on is what she's heard from
you.
Roxanne,
yeah.
And how you talk about your partner, whoever your partner is. I haven't met him, but the way you speak about him sounds like you fucking hate him. We interact with, people all the time. You hear them talk about someone you've never met, and you're like, that doesn't sound like that. That's a person who cares about the other person. That sounds like someone who's like frustrated and at the end of their rope or doesn't respect them. Again, his edit. So I totally understand why Roxanne wouldn't want to be with him. What I don't understand is why she chooses to continue to be with him. And the only solution I can come up with is that she uses him. And I don't even mean like we all use our partners to a certain extent. Hopefully we give as much as we take. We say things like, I want to be with someone because I want them to make me a better person. Well, that's kind of like you, in a way, using your partner.
She kept saying how she's like in a different league, how she's like, pro sports team, how there's different leagues. She's 31 and he's 30.
Yeah, didn't she say something along the lines of
like you're so like I'm
you're
much
younger
older,
than me, I'm much older. Yeah.
I agreed with her though.
She's
that's
1 year older.
No, but that's not what she was saying. She was saying, listen, I have worked my ass my whole life. She busted her ass in her 20s as a 31-year-old woman whose biological clock ticks, and I don't know what she wants in terms of family, but anytime she talked to like someone like Alex, who she deemed as more motivated, all of a sudden this marriage and kids talk came out.
Yeah.
She's looking at Antonio and being like, if I have a kid with you, it's all on me. But I think what she is addicted to when it comes to Antonio is that person that she can walk all over. That
like a yes man.
Yeah, yes. Like she wants someone who listens to her vent and complain, who will like do grocery runs. I bet Antonio is good at running little errands. I bet he's the best at it. He's like, yeah, babe, I'll pick up your dry cleaning for sure. Like, I think he's a trooper.
And then on the other hand, there's Alex, who is like, I don't have, like, you're a mature woman. Why do you need help with the groceries? Like, you're like, because I only have 2 fucking hands? What? And like the fact that he's arguing with like not helping her clean. She's like, I literally like scrubbed the toilet. And he's like, yeah, well, sorry,
he was literally
busy.
like, good for
it's
you.
Like, you shit in that toilet too. Like that, I'm not clean. Like, what do you mean? Get up and clean your own toilet.
Back to this point, you look at Alex and Kat, and the reason why I think they might work out and why, because Kat does come across, unlike, like Alex sounds like a little misogynistic and a little sexist who's just like, I'm the dude, I'm going to work, I'm going to make the money, and if you could just stay home and take care of our kids, that would be really great for me. That's how he comes across. But Kat also kind of sounds like at the end of the day, she might be down for that, right? And it's just kind of interesting that Roxanne isn't down for Antonio to play the Kat role, where Kat is a little bit more demure. But I don't think Alex deserves someone like Kat, because Kat seems like she is going to make a great partner to the right person because she will love that person. And and maybe that's unfair, or there's a double standard for Antonio. It's the video game playing that makes him sound like a deadbeat. But like, I can sit here and say Antonio sounds like a deadbeat, and I have nothing but nice things to say about Kat.
I really hope that after Kat watched the argument between Roxanne and Alex, that she had something to say. I really hope that
Alex.
Yeah. That she was like, and then him not even apologizing, like Roxanne coming over, giving this big apology and like really, showing so much humility. And then Alex being like, yeah, well, people make mistakes. Anyways, so she's like, that's all, like, you have nothing you want to say. Like, I really hope that maybe sparked a conversation with them if Kat has started to, speak more about speak more on her mind, but
And
I
what
wished-
did you
I
what did you
wished
think? Because I know you
too.
loved Kat.
I love Kat, and I think this is why I feel Kat and Alex work out. It's because unlike Antonio, I feel like Kat, she may be gentle about her approach, but she speaks up for herself. She'll say something like when Antonio was, calling Alex
She stuck up for Alex.
she stuck up for Alex, yes. But I feel like if she can stand up to someone else, she could possibly have that energy with Alex,
Possibly.
right?
But,
But I feel like Antonio, when you see them talking, it's like he gets really rattled up. Like the night he got angry when he found out Roxanne not respecting Antonio. He was angry at first. He flipped out. He was calling names and then shows up to Roxanne and he's just bawling his eyes out. And I feel like Kat, she won't cry about it. She's kind of just like, can we talk? Let's talk about this with Alex. It seems like she's more willing to communicate and Antonio's kind of just like, all right, then I just don't. If that's how you feel, Roxanne, then fine.
well,
I don't want to talk.
But it's like Antonio, like, it's so fascinating because it's like he knows deep down that Alex isn't lying. It's like you could see it on Antonio's face. Like he
Mhm.
knows that she doesn't respect him, but he doesn't respect himself.
But that was also the whole issue. Like Kat, in their bio, it even says Kat is conflict avoidant, preferring to defer to Alex instead of making her own decisions. Meanwhile, he wants to be challenged and he wants someone who's the equal and isn't afraid to speak their mind. And so I think, yeah, it was really easy for her to stick up for someone else, but I think it's really hard for her to stick up for herself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that because of this, that's what makes them work now. Because after the show, they came back for the reunion, right? And things seemed pretty okay with them. So maybe she
Seemed-
learned from that.
It seemed better, but
Better, yeah.
ultimately she wanted the proposal and she got what she wanted,
Mm-hmm.
in theory. The question is this,
Is it
Did-
working out?
did she make a terrible mistake? And the terrible mistake would be focusing so much on the security of an engagement that she pushed aside some of the more meaningful, qualities in a relationship that she hasn't been getting that she might need in the long run. With Antonio seems like he wants to get married to Roxanne for security, which is kind of fascinating. It's
Mhm.
such a 180 from what we're used to from a societal standpoint. Roxanne's the worker. She's going to make money. She's going to be fine either way. And Antonio just doesn't want to work. I just it's not for me.
He's a freight broker. What is that?
I don't know.
Not anymore.
But I think he wants to get him married to, when all these questions like, would you marry her today? Antonio's like, yeah, because he knows that Roxanne is always going to be fine financially. She is always going to work. She will always figure it out. She is a survivor. She
Mhm.
is a grinder. She's a hustler. She's smart. She's
So he
capable,
feels safe with her.
and he feels safe with her. And if I marry Roxanne, I'm going to be financially secure. And it's like Roxanne feels that same thing that Antonio wants, but instead of just accepting that maybe she is the grinder and is the worker and she is the breadwinner in the family, and that doesn't seem like she wants. She wants she wants to be a power couple.
But then she doesn't
But she-
Well,
I
feel
don't know if
the
she really does. I think she
trial-
wants an Antonio. She just needs to accept
Yes.
that this is the life this is what she wants. But she just has to just marry Antonio and let him do his thing.
I think it's also because Roxanne comes off so aggressive anyways that obviously if she's this aggressive, her partner is just going to seem very calm, relaxed. And Antonio is. But to play devil's advocate, do you think that maybe he is kind of discouraged to working hard because maybe Roxanne has kind of pushed him so far down, emotionally, drained him emotionally? But do you guys think that maybe that's why he feels so discouraged to maybe work that hard?
I think she's hard on him. And
Yes.
she says some things that come across as fuck, that was pretty direct. But it's just direct.
Mm-hmm.
And she has the right to
But-
be discouraged. And
right.
she has the right to be frustrated at him. I
I
don't
agree.
get either of
I
them.
agree.
I don't understand why either of them are so willing to be with the other person because they both seem like they make each other miserable.
I feel it's just history at that point. Because like they said, right? She has gone back and forth with him,
Or it could just be maybe Roxanne not accepting,
Antonio.
I guess, who she is or what she wants. Antonio's Antonio.
Yeah.
But it's just more, it's Roxanne figuring out what is she, if I were talking to Roxanne, I'd be like, what do you really want out of a relationship? Why are you with him?
right.
You say you respect him, so why let's focus on what you do like about him. Because
Yeah.
the what you don't like about him, I want to know, what about the things that you don't like? What would you be willing to accept him never changing?
Right.
And would you still be willing to date him? Because at some point when you date someone, you're going to reach a point where you say, well, I realize this is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we can always work on our shortcomings. But if I want to be with you, I need to accept
Blank, blank, blank.
blank, and blank. Because it's been like 2 or 3 years. It hasn't changed. I've nagged. This is just who you are, your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio is never going to be some sort of like business
Yeah.
hustler, grind it out. He's not going to go back to school and get his degree and advanced degree.
So then maybe it's a little bit of both to why they're still together. It's because they have history, yes. And then on top of that, she hasn't accepted herself, right? So it could be a little bit of both, because I think history goes a long way. Like if you have been with someone for a long time, she's probably struggling with having to let him go if that's the case.
Well, and also if she's working that many hours and
Right.
she already has someone that like they can somewhat make it work,
Mhm.
she's not going to finish these crazy work days and get on Hinge
Yeah.
and go to a dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you're probably right. But that's, I guess, my point is that if Roxanne really wants to be with Antonio, she needs to do a better job of appreciating the stuff
Yes.
that he does do.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly he is doing something that she finds value out of. And she needs to name it and then focus on that and then accept the things that she doesn't like about him just ain't changing. This is who he is. And it's also fine if she doesn't want to accept those things, but they should break up.
Do you remember like in the episode where they were back together with their couple and Antonio was like, I love you. And she was just like, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he communicated. He was like, why can't you just say I love you too? And she's like, well, why? I don't feel it right now.
I don't want to say something I don't mean, I think she said.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Like,
brutal.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
She even said, like, over the past few days, I've been saying I love you. And I've been like, whoa, that feels different because I don't normally do that.
But at least
was like,
she's
what?
trying and like trying to increase that, as like ridiculous as it kind of sounds. Meanwhile, with Kat and Alex, she's saying, I need more words of affirmation. He goes, well, that's not a big deal for me. So
I'm a man of action.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
and he goes, it's really hard to show love in a way you don't receive it. So yeah, no, that's not going to work for me.
I love James.
You like James?
You like James.
Sweet baby angel.
I love Trey and Ryan.
Me too.
You
I
loved
was
Trey and Ryan?
Really
Why?
too.
I did
What?
not think that Trey was going to propose to Raya.
Neither
or
did
get
I.
pregnant with her. Did you see that?
No,
they were
they're
expecting
expecting.
a baby.
I mean, good for them as long as they're happy and they figured it out. Like if the show helped them. But I genuinely thought that Ryan and Trey
Me
were going
too.
to get
At least they
together.
were both ready. And even if they didn't end
No.
up together, I was hoping that would illuminate to both of them that those people are out there.
Mhm.
Because even at the proposal, like Trey's getting down on one knee and Raya's just like,
So scared.
You know,
She's
That is
freaking
not.
out.
That is not the type of proposal you want to see. That is not the reaction. She had to like gather herself, realize that she was being filmed, and then come up with an answer.
That was like Roxanne too. Like she couldn't even say the word yes.
she was
had
like,
to be like,
this
you
is
gotta
really
say it."
scary for me.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
I did not think Roxanne was going to say yes.
But that's like, but I blame Antonio. Like Antonio, they're both as guilty for being in this like what seems
Absolutely.
to be unhealthy relationship. Like Roxanne's not the villain in this relationship any more than Antonio is. Yeah, she's harsh and she says some things that come across as cold. It's like, stand up for yourself, Antonio. You know, he doesn't treat himself with respect. And how could you possibly expect someone like Roxanne to treat him with respect when he doesn't treat himself with respect? You know,
She also refused to wear the engagement ring. She just keeps it in the box.
And he added to it.
Yeah,
made
he
it even
added-
bigger.
yeah,
and
he-
she still doesn't want to
but
wear it.
he
Yeah.
keeps, yeah,
but she
like,
wears all these other rings and
Yeah.
like
do
accessories.
something about it, Antonio. Like stand up for yourself. Be like, I'm not okay with this. And so I'm just here to say, either just shut up and love each other, or break up.
I think they chose to shut up and love each other.
But they
I don't
haven't
know.
shut up.
They have.
What?
They haven't shut up though.
But weirdly enough, I do think they're kind of good for each other.
They work out. Like they balance each other out. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, like, and you know, they clearly have their flaws. Their relationship has its flaws. Their relationship, you could argue, is toxic, just like Kat and Alex. Because like Kat and Alex, there's compatibility there in a sense that like, yeah, Alex is just kind of gives you the ick, and he says some really off-putting things. But I think Kat wants the go-getter that Alex is, and she probably, it sounds like she would be comfortable with a life of him working. They have kids. She's the primary like raiser of the kids.
She's a travel nurse. She's busy.
Is she though?
Yeah.
She didn't. But I don't know. I don't know what their family planning plans are. But he clearly is old school, and it sounds like she might be down for something like that. Now, where I think he's just a dick, so eventually she's just going to feel underappreciated.
The argument where Roxanne and Alex, when they were arguing about the respect thing, as much as I hated the way Alex was saying the things he was saying, I loved how direct he was to Roxanne, though. But then that made me wonder, like, does he talk that way to Kat, knowing that Kat's so soft-spoken?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Right?
He comes across.
We need to protect Kat at all costs.
It's hard to tell.
That's
because
where I'm at
in
right
general,
now.
he comes across as condescending and a bit of a know-it-all. And I'm sure he's like that with everyone. He comes across as he doesn't respect anyone he's really talking to. Like he's the smartest guy in the room. And I think it just comes across extra icky when he's talking to women as a result.
Which was weird, though, because he also didn't want to tell Antonio how he felt about Roxanne. And
I think he kind of did.
a little bit, right? But at the same time, he didn't. Because he wasn't being very, like, open and honest with it. He kind of hesitated a lot. I think he honestly just didn't want to hurt Antonio's feelings. But I know he genuinely felt that Roxanne didn't respect him. But I thought that was a weird side to Alex, like knowing how he talked to Roxanne and during the argument versus how he kind of spilt the tea to Antonio. It was just not as direct as you would think it would be.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's tough to tell another guy that your partner doesn't respect you.
But I felt like he was leaning into the theatrics a little bit.
Yeah. This episode is sponsored by Care of. Chances are you've tried a vitamin or two in your life. And chances are you tried it and then you forgot about it, or maybe you went through the bottle and then forgot to get a replacement, or you tried every other day, or maybe you tried it and then you traveled and then you forgot to take your vitamins. Well, that's not going to do you any good. You got to stay with it. Consistency matter. And Care of makes it super easy to do that by getting the vitamins and supplements that you want and need. And they come in these little like packs that make it super easy to travel with and help you remember to take them. Care of has made it super easy to stay on the vitamin and regimen that's right for me.
And I think it's really awesome because there's so many different kinds of supplements that it can be super daunting at first to think like, oh my God, what do I need? See all these videos of people saying what they take, but you're a completely different person than them.
And also diet, things that you consume on a daily basis are going to impact what you might be missing out in your normal routine. So that's why their quiz is so helpful, because you can say, I may be lacking protein, or maybe I'm gluten-free, or like whatever your dietary restrictions are, what you're consuming on a daily basis in terms of diet, where you live, like all of these things impact what our body might be lacking. So going through their really quick quiz and helping them curate a perfect formula for you every day, all these vitamins and supplements are going to work well together. And that, I think, is a huge thing. No more Googling, can I take this with this, or all that nonsense.
For 50% off your first Care of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code VIALL50. That's takecareof.com and enter code VIALL50. Drizzly, the #1 way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep when you want it. Drizzly is here to be your partner in parties, meaning that they are here to help you take the grunt work out of your get-together so that you can be a confident host and actually party at your own party. That's right. Drizzly is making it super easy to buy beer, wine, and spirits. They do deliver to your doorstep sooner than you think. Is that your order from Drizzly, Ellie?
Yeah, that's my beautiful Aperol Spritz of our Labor Day weekend.
You ordered it from Drizzly.
Yeah. Isn't she pretty?
It is. She is beautiful. Listen, there's always those times where we want a little tasty beverage. We want that fix, and we just forgot to buy it at the grocery store. And, well, this is where Drizzly comes into play, because you can get a wild selection from the Drizzly app. Whether you are a wino or maybe a beer craft person, you like your microbrewers, or maybe you like to discover new wines from different regions of the world, well, Drizzly makes that possible. Or maybe you just want to get your drink on and go with Old Reliable. Well, your Wild Turkey 101 is also part of the selection. It really doesn't matter what you're drinking. Chances are Drizzly has it for you. And if you just want to stay at home and not get out in inclement weather, or maybe you don't want to leave the party, or maybe you just want to order a nice little drink for the party that you couldn't make, but you can make sure that your presence is still felt, Drizzly is there to solve all those pain points and more. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com today. That's DRIZLY.com, drizzly.com. Drizzly, the most convenient way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your door when you want it.
The other day, I was speaking to Genevieve, and we were just commiserating on how much as women we feel like our bodies go through and how there are different changes to our body. And that can have a lot of impacts, not only on the inside, but the outside. And hair thinning is one of those effects. And that happens in 1 in 2 women. So if you are one of them, know that you are not alone. Hair thinning is normal, and Nutrafol helps women address it from within with science-backed supplements. So again, we go through a lot of stuff, whether it's postpartum, menopause, aging, our diets. So take the help. Take the Nutrafol step.
Maybe your hair is it's just not looking as healthy as it used to be. Maybe you've been dyeing it, and it's this break, giving you some like broken ends. Well, there's all these different, use cases to try Nutrafol. Nutrafol is doing great things when it comes to strengthening your hair and giving you visibly thicker hair and less shedding. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement clinically shown to prove visible thickness and strength from postpartum to menopause to plant-based lifestyles. And no matter your life stage, Nutrafol has 4 unique formulas to support women. Each is physician formulated using drug-free, science-backed ingredients so you get the most reliable results. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter promo code TheViallFiles. That's right, that's TheViallFiles. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol to healthier hair. Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com. Promo code TheViallFiles. That's Nutrafol.com. Promo code TheViallFiles. I felt like most of the people who asked for the ultimatum, I think the general theme was they didn't feel appreciated by their partner. Antonio, Kat, Trey,
Ryan.
That was a general theme of not feeling, it's like they didn't feel appreciated by their partner was kind of the theme.
Wait, can we go back to that? You like James?
Love.
Really?
What's there not to
Why?
like?
He needs therapy.
I
He
like
definitely
James
needs therapy.
too. I
No, he
just
definitely needs
loved-
therapy. Yeah.
Like, I love James too. It's just unfortunate because Ryan is just emotionally in a place to like be a great partner
Mhm.
and get married and have children, and he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not his fault, but it's also not Ryan's fault.
Mhm.
And I feel bad for her holding herself back again because of all this history they have.
Right.
She seems like a very kind person.
Mhm.
I'm
and
just
Trey
so
is
proud
just-
of
Trey
him
was just
for
also
finally
ready.
speaking up.
I am too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like he's been through a lot, and it's clearly a guy who needs a lot of therapy. He didn't ask, he didn't serve up the ultimatum, so to speak. Then he's in this, fake marriage or whatever, trial marriage as they call it. And he's just like, I don't even want to hold hands with you, because it seemed like James was doing a lot of self-reflection, right? And then good for him for apologizing to Raya, being like, I'm kind of being selfish by like focusing on my needs and I'm not giving you what you want. It's not really his responsibility to do that, but at least he acknowledged it. But yeah, like I get him not wanting to hold hands with her because it's like he wanted to prove his loyalty to Ryan. It's like this was James trying to like become a man, like just really hold himself accountable. And I agree with Natalie. I thought his journey was the most self-reflective.
and also he's a freak. He is a kinky little freak.
Also, yeah, what is
The
the
sound
Sound-
stick.
yeah.
A
Sounding
sounding
rod.
rod.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked
Ew.
James and Ryan because listen, like I didn't marry my high school sweetheart,
Thank God.
But if you in 2023, if you're gonna try to marry your high school sweetheart, I think we have to acknowledge like the challenges. It's not easy to do, and it's even harder nowadays because no one else is doing it. And back in the day when you married your high school sweetheart, all your friends were marrying their high school sweetheart, and no one was like, hey, do you realize all the other opportunities you're like saying no to by like dating the same person? No one's throwing that in your face. Much harder in 2023. And so I thought it was kind of cute and endearing to see this young couple go through some of these struggles and all while trying to figure themselves out as individuals while trying to still prioritize the relationship. It's a fucking hard thing to do. And so, yeah, I give James and Ryan a lot of credit. Like, yeah, you know, Trey and Ryan had some chemistry, but to me, that was kind of insignificant, you know? Like, yeah, you can have chemistry with a lot of people.
I think they needed that though, because I feel like Trey and Ryan needed to understand that they do deserve more than what they've had with their partners. So they need to speak up more about it because they've never experienced that with their partners. So having it from each other, for Trey and Ryan to have that with each other, they're like, okay, I can express to my partner now, hey, I actually like this and I actually don't like this and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, because they actually felt it already.
I feel like this experience benefited James and Ryan the most. And I feel like kind of everyone else got pressured into a decision they weren't capable of making or weren't prepared to make. Like Brian and Lisa, what a train wreck. I mean, I don't know if they're happy and healthy, but, you know, when he was like, hey, how you react to things, it's a bit concerning. Meanwhile, she demonstrated just how reactive she is.
She hit him.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did hit him.
Oh, my favorite part of the reunion was Raya was like, hey, listen, Raya, very calmly, she was like, hey, listen, I just want to say, like, didn't really appreciate how you talked to me. I felt a bit disrespected. Sitting very nice, but it very calm. She didn't like get in her face. She just was like, hey, listen, I just felt like it was a little out of pocket. And then Lisa's just like, yeah, no, sorry, not sorry.
Lisa literally was like, I don't care.
I don't give a fuck. Meanwhile, and then was it Antonio? I think it was Antonio who, like, again, kind of an empathetic heart, sweet guy. You know, he's got his
he did
pros.
step in.
He kind of stepped in and said, hey, listen, like, you seem like a nice person. Like, almost kind of was like, hey, like, it just seems like a weird thing for you to still be pushing this issue. She apologized and was kind of like this level approach. I just feel like this, you know, hey, and then was it also Roxanne? Someone threw out the pregnancy hormone excuse.
Oh, it was Roxanne.
Which Lisa was like, oh, yeah.
I was acting out of character, so that's why I decided to take a test.
Right? But meanwhile, it's like, but you still don't regret it? It's like Roxanne gave her the out, of which Lisa realized, oh, yeah, I'll just use that excuse. But she gave her the excuse after she said she didn't.
Also,
she
wasn't
sorry.
that she also worked at Hooters, but then is using that as like the main descriptor for Raya, calling her a Hooters bitch. And then when they brought that up, she goes, well, it's less about where she works and more just what she embodies. Like, it just felt like every time they tried to counter one of her points.
How can a girl who works at Hooters challenge you?
Yeah.
If that is not, like, how
That's
more
ridiculous.
disrespectful can you get?
Yeah, Lisa was yelling at Brian outside and was like, what are you going to learn from her? You can't learn anything from her.
What she was saying didn't make any sense because, and usually when we don't make sense, it's because we can't say the hard part out loud.
She might have just felt a little insecure in that moment for sure.
Their whole fight was like the Meisner technique. I was like, there's so much repetition happening. It feels like an acting exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know, I hope they're good. But yeah, everyone else
see
felt like
who
they got
will
pressured
last.
into a decision. I don't know.
I wish Lisa and Brian stayed because I feel like it would have been very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I feel like, of course, Brian and Raya would have been coupled up.
Yep.
And then I feel like Lisa might have chosen Trey, to be honest. Because remember, they were kind of vibing in the beginning. But I don't know. I mean, happy for them. They have a baby boy now. And it seems like in the reunion, they're very much just sitting there kind of like, okay, we stand by where we're at right now and we're doing well together. I felt like there was a lot of reassurance.
She's not sorry.
Yeah, but she's not sorry. She's obviously not sorry. And she's very happy they left the show.
Unfortunately, it just seemed like Trey and Raya, like, I mean, they're pregnant now, so that's great. But yeah, I hope that her reaction to the proposal was just more her being filmed and not her genuine reaction, because that might be tough to watch back.
Well, even if these people didn't find their person, we can find our person.
There you go.
Nice. I like that one. Thank you.
And give me your biggest takeaways, your 3 biggest takeaways from your book. Also, you have a lot of stuff in here about friendships, which people, I find, you know, it's harder and harder to make friends these days, especially in adulthood. We like to talk and encourage our listeners to push themselves to make friends in adulthood because it can seem scary and, you know, people are less open to it. But now more than ever, I think in this lonely society, we have to push ourselves to make friends. What's some advice that you can share that's from your book about friendships and just your general like biggest takeaways that you have found people have resonated with from your book?
So the book has basically 3 big chapters. One of them is love and like relationships with romantic partners. The second one is based off of just friendships. Like it's just purely friendships. And then the third one is the relationship you have with yourself. And I would like to say one of the biggest takeaways within the book that I wanted to really put out there is that you truly grow through what you go through. Like you are becoming the person you are through these experiences, good or bad. And a lot of that has to do with your environment, who you surround yourself with, your romantic partners or the friends you make along the way. And then also the way you feel about yourself, that relationship with yourself. And so I put it so that in every single chapter of the 3, you have heartbreak with friendships and in the relationships, but also the heartbreak you have within yourself of like feeling discouraged, of like not feeling enough, not feeling worthy. So, and then I also put the highs. So I put the highs of like being in love or like the chase or like finally finding a friend that you're like, oh, I'm so comfortable with this person. I see a lifetime friendship. But then also having to go through, okay, how do I make this a lifetime friendship? Because it's not just going to fly by smoothly. Like obviously, just like a romantic relationship, you are going to argue with your friends. You're going to have disagreements. And so what I hoped with this book is to encourage people to understand and grasp the fact that they will grow through what they go through. The second one altogether is to just either use it as a guide or for it to be something relatable. If you're going through this right now, hey, there's a chapter for you in here. Like there's a passage in here for you.
Have you ever had to leave a friendship?
Oh, absolutely.
Tell me about it.
It was...
You have 4 steps in here of how to do that. And I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you had to live through that on your own.
Absolutely.
And that can be hard. We tell ourselves that like friendships are forever. And I always find like the hardest part of breakups of any kind, whether romantic or friendship, is because of the promises we kind of make to ourselves about the relationships or to each other. Hey, romantic ones, like, we're going to marry and have kids. And we're going to have a happy ever after. And then a couple years go by, you're not happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I promised us. And same with friendships. You guys make these pacts.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to be friends forever. And then sometimes it's hard to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I don't know if this relationship is serving me. How did you come to that realization with a friend, and how did you end up leaving that friendship? So
I had a friend that I grew up with, and I'm saying like 10 plus years of friendship. And this person was my number one person. But I did have to leave the friendship because we grew apart. It was to a point where every little thing I felt I was doing and this person was doing, it just wasn't aligned anymore. We couldn't relate. Because we couldn't relate, we couldn't really empathize for each other when we were going through certain things, whether it be career or it be in relationships or just other friendships in general, life in general. We just couldn't relate. And we were hitting a wall. We really tried. We were like, we don't talk a lot because we lived pretty far apart, but we tried to make time for each other. We were like, oh, let's have FaceTime calls every so often, like maybe every week, every 2 weeks to catch up. At one point, it was kind of like, we just never called each other. Like we had a schedule and we were like, oh yeah. So then that kind of just phase out? I messaged this person after we kind of stopped talking. And I would like to say not more than 2 weeks had passed. We were like, oh, we were supposed to have a phone call, but then it never happened and no one apologized. No one checked in. And I was like, this is a sign. Like, not that we don't care, but it's like, maybe we've kind of just ended, like, this is it for us. So I sent this person a message because I tried calling and this person didn't answer. So I was like, oh, crap. Maybe they are upset that we didn't have this phone call. But I sent them a message and I was like, hey, we've been through a lot and I love you dearly, but I get it. You're in a different place in your life. I'm in a different place in mine. And I will always be rooting for you. We ended it on such a good note, but we're not really friends. Was that sad? Did you have to mourn that friendship? Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm like tearing up right now. Yeah, it's tougher with friendships and like best friendships, so to speak, because you play the role of a romantic partner in so many ways. Yeah, you're there emotionally. You're the emotional support system. And then when it's not serving you well, it's like kind of a weird to like, because you don't need to like break up like a romantic one and be like, hey, don't call me because I just can't see you. Like, we're not friends. I feel like with my situation, I definitely felt like for me, I had to accept the fact that I couldn't be a good friend to this person anymore. Like I wasn't the friend they needed, I guess is a better saying. And so I had to take myself out of that because I knew this person is doing well. They're thriving. I'm rooting for this person constantly, very happy for where they are in life. And I'm just like, it's so nice to look back and be like, good for you. We had a great friendship.
Well, and it's the fading sometimes is the hardest
Yeah.
part too. Like nothing big happened.
Yeah.
It's different than a romantic relationship where like there wasn't a scandal or a cheating or
Yeah.
a big fight and you grow apart.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's even harder than romantic relationships because you feel like you can be more vulnerable with them in a way. You don't have those same, like, will they like me or will they not if I share this?
Yeah.
Like with your friends, you're supposed to just be able to share everything and it just be an open book. So to feel like when that book, so to speak, closes, it's
Yeah.
really hard, especially when it's a 10-year friendship.
Yeah. Over 10 years,
I'm
yeah.
into your book and I see this one page that just says, if they loved you, you would feel loved. What a great line. What is something in your book
hmm
that you learned from your own repetitive mistakes? Like what is something in this book that, you're giving advice to your readers and you learned it because you've made that same mistake many, many times. And maybe you're even capable of still making that same mistake, but deep down, you know that it is a mistake and that's something you wanted to share with your audience.
Oh, yeah. I think my most repetitive mistake is thinking I'm not worthy. For example, being in the talks and being invited to be on the Viall files. Like, I didn't think I was worthy. I think I spoke about it earlier too. I was like, my butt is going to be where JoJo sat. Taylor Lautner was here. Topanga was here. Like, I have to constantly tell myself, I'm here for a reason. I may be nervous. I may be scared, but I belong here.
How would you do that in your romantic relationships? How have you overcome that feeling of unworthiness?
Yeah, no. So I feel like a lot of the time me feeling unworthy in a relationship is because like the person is so good to me. And I'm over here like obviously doubtful because like what's going to go wrong, but also like, why do I deserve a good person? Because I feel like we all, and like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like we all kind of think about our past mistakes and who we were as a person. And you're like, I was a mean person. Or like, maybe even a past relationship, you were just not as respectful. You weren't the best partner. And then now you move on and with life and then you find someone else and they're treating you the way that you've always wanted to be treated. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, this is different. Like, I don't deserve this. And I feel like when I'm in that state of thinking I don't deserve the love that my partner is giving me, wholeheartedly, I have that conversation with my partner. I'm like, hey, you're so good to me. This is nothing about you. This is my own insecurities. You love me and I understand that and I feel that, but I don't feel like I deserve that. I think it's really nice to communicate that with your partner. It's the reassurance factor. It's like, there's so many times where I feel I should have spoken up for myself and said, hey, I want to talk about this. But I'm also fearful that I don't want to make my partner feel insecure. Like, what do you mean you don't deserve this? They might feel, oh, maybe they're doing something wrong or they're doing too much or they're being overbearing or something. I think the biggest lesson I've learned is to just communicate it. Be like, listen, it's not about you. It's about how I'm feeling. It's about how I feel like I don't deserve this, but you're amazing. And then having them tell me like, no, I do these things for you and I'm here for you because I love you, because you deserve it. Like to hear that you being perceived as this great person is so nice compared to like the negative thoughts you feel you feel inside.
Other than communicating, because obviously super important.
Yeah.
How do you have that conversation with yourself? Because at some point, I'm assuming, communication is important. Yeah. But let's say you're communicating that every week. Right. That could feel
it could be,
like, oh, no, trust me. Like you deserve me, like, what's that internal conversation you've had with yourself?
The internal conversation that I feel I've had with myself is I'm constantly reminding myself like, hey, you're doing great. Everything you've worked towards, whether it be career-wise or like just life, trying to be a better person, trying to be, just a good person, to remind yourself you are doing your best every day. You don't have to prove anything to anyone else. Like that's a dialogue in my head. Like you don't need to prove anything to anyone else, especially outside of your relationship, but you don't have to prove anything to anyone else. Just prove yourself wrong. I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling insecure about myself. And I'm just like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I have to do something about it. Like I have to. I think for the longest time, that's something I struggled with very long time, like years. And I'm finally coming to this point. Sorry. I think I'm just finally coming to a point where I can say I'm proud of myself for growing through what I've gone through. And that's a really hard conversation to have. I'm sorry, is there tissues?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of great nuggets in here. It's called Finding Your Person, Even If It's You. Be sure to check that. It's out now.
It is out
Wherever
now.
you get books. Is
Mhm.
there an audio book?
There's an audiobook. I was actually able to.
A lot of the people who
Record
listen to
it.
this show can't read like me. So they like listening to
Aw.
things.
But it's also available at Target.
Available at Target.
Yeah.
So Target, Amazon, audiobook, wherever you get your books, be sure to check out Finding Your Person, even if it's you. And I know you don't use your last name, but
Right.
how would someone search the author? Is it just under
Oh,
Ann?
It's
Or is
under Annnexmp.
Annnexmp?
Yeah.
There we go.
A lot of people
So I
don't know
learned
how
that,
to say that.
in the book industry, you find books based off the last name of the author. So I was
Mhm.
curious about
Yeah. Actually, if you do knew my last name, though, you could find it.
You could.
You
Okay.
can, yes. But if you don't, Annnexmp.
Annnexmp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, check it out. Thank you guys for listening. We want to thank Ann for joining us. Oh, also, where can everyone follow you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where?
On Instagram and on TikTok. And I also am on YouTube. However, I don't post, so I don't
And
recommend
it's
it.
Annnexmp.
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 Yep.
Check out all of Ann's great stuff out there. We are back on Thursday. Well, actually, which is tomorrow, going deeper because I know it's been a holiday week. Wells Adams, friend of show, is with us tomorrow. We'll be talking about probably Joe and Serena's wedding. He was the presider, officiant, minister.
Officiant?
Well, no, is it an ordained? Don't you go online and get ordained?
Ordained minister, you can be,
I don't
like,
know. Anyways, we'll
certified.
talk about the wedding. We'll catch up with Wells. We'll get into all. Probably find out what can we expect for Paradise. Well, the bartender of Paradise is with us. Plus, I'm sure more great stuff to come on Thursday. Going deeper. Don't forget to send in those questions at AskNick@theviallfiles.com for all things texting office hours, mediation. Ask Nick. Be sure again to check out Ann's book, Finding Your Person. Follow Ann on social. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye.
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 Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.